Howdy there. Quite a few people have asked, should I do the switch from a 20 to 21? Guys, here's my 2 cents. It's just an opinion. You take it and do whatever you want for it with it. What's the big difference? The big difference is the CP3. We all know the CP3 is a better, old, true and tried pump. I love it. I'm happy. And if you guys can't tell, if you're not a regular, I have me a 21. I mean, it's brand new. Well, not anymore. It almost has 800 miles on it. But anywho, let's get this thing situated. I'm going to tell you a little backstory where I'm coming from. So I ordered quite a few vehicles here and there. I don't know if that sounds right. But anyways, I order vehicles here and there. And it just happened to be that when I went to the dealership last late summer, early fall, I needed me a couple tradesmen, and they were completely sold out. And they look, listen, Paul, your best bet right now is to order a couple trucks. So I did. I ordered me a couple tradesmen, and when I was doing that, they're like, "Are you going to trade in your truck?" I'm like, "No, man, this is a tradesman. I don't trade my limiteds for tradesmen. I trade my limiteds for limited." Like, well, you keep talking about a mega cab. Are you going to buy one? I'm like, "Yeah, in the winter." He's like, "I don't know, Paul. Maybe you should see if my manager could give you a quote on yours. We're paying top dollar right now for trade-ins because, inventory is tight." I'm like, "Well, here's the key. Help yourself. You know exactly what that truck is, but here you go, So they looked at it, and they gave me one heck of a offer. Well, obviously, I couldn't pass it up. Gave a few days and said, all right, let's do this. But I'm not trading it in on my tradesmen. I'm going to trade it in on a limited. So I went in and put a Laramie order on a mega cab. And my regulars know I do not like Laramies. I don't like that fake leather. No, there's nothing wrong with Laramies. It's just Paul has an issue, and that's the issue. So we get over that. Lord behold, my plans that I had for a temporary truck, and don't fall off your cherry, it was a 99 Ford F-350. My regulars know I have that truck as a backup. I said, listen, man, I'm going to stay off the road as much as I can. Whoa, what's going on with my camera here? I'm going to stay off the road as much as I can, and when I need it, I need it. Well, Lord behold it. Every single day for the next 6 days, I needed a truck. And on the 6th day, Paul rose up and said, no more. I am done with this Ford thing. Guys, I literally gave myself 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, Paul, you got 3 days to figure this out. You better get yourself a Cummins and get one quick. I was looking for a tradesman fortune is what I was looking for, because I was just going to clean it up, drive it myself, and hand it down to my boys. Well, I remember my cousin's husband. Well, whatever. My cousins had a 18 Laramie and a 17 Laramie. I just see him using a 17 quite more often because it's a dually. And I call him up, I'm like, listen, man, I'm looking for a truck. I know you don't use your 18 much. He's like, yeah, I've been thinking of about buying a new truck. So I'm like, perfect, sell me your 18. He's like, well, come on back out here and we'll come to the yard. We'll talk. So we talked, and long story short, I ended up picking up the 18 Laramie that he had. Low miles, didn't really work the truck perfect, right? Well, it didn't take me long to figure out why I don't like Laramies. Absolutely wonderful truck. It was a good truck, but Paul and his issues. Keep in mind, Paul ordered a Laramie. So on the second day of owning that 18 Laramie, I said, the hell with Laramies. I ain't buying one for myself, that's for sure. So I called the dealership and I said, listen, man, I need to put in a different order, and I hope you guys don't blow too many fuses. I need to cancel my Laramie. So they're like, well, we don't know about that. We ain't planning on canceling your Laramie, but let's see. So long story short, talked to the owner. He's like, Paul, just order what you want. We'll figure it out. So thank you, Dishman. You guys are solid. Well, the issue lied that right there took me a total of 2 weeks from the point I ordered my Laramie to the point I wanted to order a limited. They could not get me a 21 Ison. They said, hey, you got to order 21s. 2020 orders are done, but we can't get you an Ison on 21. So I had to wait a whole month. Okay, there's a reason why I'm sharing this whole story. A month later, Lord behold, I get my order put in. Now, if it were to be a Chrysler, one day they're busting out 2020s, next day they're 21s. The end. That's all the difference there is, and they swapped out a CP3, right, for a CP4. Well, excuse me, a CP4 for a CP3. That's all the difference I'm really seeing, guys. Now, keep in mind, it's not really an apples to apples comparison here. I own 3 20s, so 3 of the 2020 Rams, and they all seem to run great, no issues. The only truck that's given me issue was a 19, and it kept throwing codes for EGR flow, insufficient flow, or something of that nature. So at that point, we're talking about 19s, but to my 2020s, solid trucks, they haul, and they haul better. They're better tuned than the 19s. See what I'm underlining here? But it's not an apples to apples comparison. When I'm comparing my old truck, my personally old truck is the 19 Limited that I personally owned. Oh, I don't mean to confuse you if you're not a regular. I own quite a few trucks. I personally drive the Limiteds, and I put tradesmen's in the fleet just to hopefully help someone clear that up. So, from my experience with the 2020s, solid trucks, no issues. And I happen to have the updated CP4 that a lot of people are concerned about. Meaning a good thing, they want the updated CP4. What did I do with my 19s? I got rid of those CP4s. That's what I did. Anyways, so all my 2020s got the updated CP4s, and I'm going to leave them in there. Hopefully they do the trick and whatnot. Lo and behold, I have any issues, they're all getting swapped out. But something tells me they'll be alright. So now, the closest thing I've driven to a 2020 in a higher trim was a Longhorn. Longhorn's pretty much a Limited, but with a little bit of a little difference in the accents, which colors in the leather. But it's high quality interior. It's good leather and all that. I didn't notice anything from a quick drive. My buddy called me up, the guy from Seattle. My buddy from Seattle, he threw me the keys. He's like, man, I don't like this tranny. I don't know what you like about these Isons, but this thing ain't shifting right. Well, the thing with an Ison, if you just put around town, they get all kinds of weird and sloppy. So I'm like, bro, get on her and get on her steady. Don't fluctuate your throttle. He's like, oh, really? That's all it is? I'm like, yeah, just once the tranny warms up, start getting on her harder. And keep a steady pedal as you're accelerating. Do not throw the pedal off when the tranny is about to shift, to soften the blow, quote unquote, if you want to call it that. But just if you're going to commit to half throttle, keep it half throttle all the way to the desired speed that you have in mind. Oh, okay, that's cool. So that's the closest thing I've driven in 2020 Longhorn. So from all my experience and all my test drives, I'm not seeing any dramatic, anything big. Like the 19 that I've owned to this 21, the changes are big. And I'll talk about them in another video. It's an ironed out truck, I feel like the 19 was clapped together and the 21 was put together, if I could put it that. But I'll leave that subject for another time. So, for you dudes wanting to get your 2020s traded in for 21s, unless they're paying you top dollar and you're not losing anything more than $3,500, it's not worth it in my books. It really isn't worth it. The steering is better on the 2020 like it is on the 21. The 19 steering is much heavier. The brakes are much spongier on the 19. They addressed that issue. So when I was trying to address that issue with Chrysler on my 19, like, well, they're Cadillac brakes. That's what they call them. Like, what kind of crap are you feeding me, Cadillac brakes? I have an Escalade. It's a Platinum, so should be the best cream of the crop for Cadillac. Ain't nothing junky like this, So anyways, long story short, they addressed it in the 2020s. They still give you soft brakes, but they're not spongy. They're soft to apply, easy to apply, but they're very reactive. I don't know if that's proper, but they're very responsive. They react very well, and they respond very well and properly. They're not that spongy feeling. They're just, they're soft, but you definitely feel it's a solid system now, not what they were doing with the 19s. So yeah, guys, that's the short gist of it, and that's what's up. I addressed it from an experience standpoint. I addressed it. I am not just blowing smoke up. You know what? From my experience and what I'm seeing, the 2020s are just solid trucks. Get the CP3s in there. Well, of course, unless your dealer's willing to pay you what you paid for yours, and you're not going to lose anything. You're going to knock off a little bit of mileage and get a brand new truck with the CP3. Then other than that, it's not really worth it. It's not worth the trade. Spend $3,500 in your 2020, get your CP3 in there and call it a day. Anyways, boys, showed up to Costco here. I'm a little early, but give me some fuel for my truck and go from there. Yes, this Costco has diesel. Their pricing is actually pretty good for all you boys. I know some of you guys are just curious. Fuel out here is $2.42. Not bad. Not bad at all. Anyways, and I noticed something important while we're on the subject. A lot of gas stations have biodiesel up to 15%. And not a lot of them have the 5%. That's what stood out to me. You see that on the bottom there? May contain up to 5% biodiesel. Is it 15 or 20? Dude, some of these places are ridiculous. But this place and a few other mobile stations around town are 5%. And specifically when your truck's tuned, you feel it. You really feel it. At least I did on my 14. My 14 was bad. If I had some crappy fuel in there, it just wouldn't pull it as well. But anyways, that's a story for another time. If you're ever curious, put it in the comment section why I don't fuel up specifically Love's and other stations, you know, at that higher biodiesel rate. I'm gonna say it's 15 usually. Anyways, boys, hopefully this video helps. I know this video is not for everyone, but as always, may the Lord bless you, and may y'all have a mighty fine day. Ciao. Bye.